Welcome to Tyrompers No Limit Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in to Tyrompers No Limit Podcast, episode number 68. Guys, we're always fired up. Today, we are especially fired up. We have today a mental health warrior. This is a man in remission with ketosis. He's off 20 medications and thriving. This is a disabled U.S. veteran that now owns his own clinic. First off, before we even start, we got to give this man a big thanks of gratitude for serving our country. I love this guy a lot. He's put out some brilliant threads on Twitter. Connected with him here recently and excited to highlight him, man. Welcome to the pod, Mr. Francis. How you doing today, brother?
Good, brother. I'm excited to be here. It's so nice to like spread the word around the world. It's a little overwhelming, right? I've done podcasts like in India. I've done podcasts like I have clinicians reaching out from France, and I barely know how to use WhatsApp. You know what I mean? So like it's funny that I'm like I did this all myself, and now I'm building a team. I have a brand ambassador, public relations team, executive assistant. So, and I come from humble beginnings, bro. Like I come from South Peoria, so like I was poor growing up. So it's just kind of weird.
From South Peoria, Illinois?
No, Arizona.
Okay, I was
so
gonna say, really
like southwest Phoenix, basically.
Nice.
Yeah. So
well, I appreciate you taking the time, Francis. And maybe for anybody who doesn't know you, can you just give kind of a little backdrop, man, of a few minute little just introduction about who you are, what you're about?
Yeah, so my name is Francis Levandowski III. You can Google me. I'm on all social media. You can follow me anywhere. I do have a clinic I'm starting up April 1st, 2023. I'm super excited. It's regenerative medicine, which I'm not going to plug it too much, but basically I'm tired of patients dying. I have 16 years of healthcare experience. So I'm a family nurse practitioner, kind of like a family physician, but a nurse, whatever. I'm a clinician. And I just love people, man. I love people. I hate patients that, I'm tired of seeing patients die that shouldn't. I've seen a lot of patients die that at 50 years old that I could have saved if I saw them 10 years earlier. I'm also have an ACE score of 9, adverse childhood experience score of 9. So I have I was raped, I was molested. I have military trauma. I have so much trauma that I win a gold medal. So the reason why I do this is to give people hope. Also, my top 3 diagnoses are bipolar 1 with psychotic features. Bipolar is the stigma I get from it is ridiculous, and I vouch for it because too many mental health patients don't feel comfortable talking about it, right? So I've been hospitalized 4 times for suicidal depression or manic psychosis. I have complex PTSD, which is PTSD times 8. It's a newer diagnosis. And then I have I'm Asperger's technically, so I'm autistic. So I don't really care. My name's Frank, but what I do care about are people out there that are not getting good treatment. So I tell my story. So does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%, man. I appreciate you being so open, and I guess there's so much to unpack there, man. But you do give a lot of hope to anybody who's gone through a lot, man, that you can come out the other side and ultimately help other people too, which is kind of the big meaning of life, man. I'd like to start anywhere you want to start, brother. Maybe with traumatic childhood or service or, kind of going through some of the things you went through. I guess what happened, and then where was the turning point where you kind of started to take control?
My first suicidal thoughts were age 7. So I was molested by a priest. So I'm a clinician, so I speak clinically as well as a patient. So when you're molested or raped at 7, I was raped, molested, your brain shuts down. So you don't process the memories correctly, right? So when you see bipolar, which is up and down, they're just like, oh, you're just manic or you're just this, right? It's very simplistic. Mental health is actually it's the worst form of medicine. It's actually pretty pathetic. We only had medicines the last like 100 years, basically. So how did people deal with mental health prior?
That's a good question.
Oh, okay, we just throw you on medicines, right? Okay, so I've been on 20 psych meds, right? So I tried medicines and I do my best with that. But that's why I specialize in metabolic psychiatry, because the future psychiatry is not going to be medicine focused.
Man, I definitely...
Can medicines help? But sometimes, but not all. Most of the time they don't.
Yeah, it kind of puts a Band-Aid.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, the real problem. And I actually had a guest on yesterday, man, that maybe you can speak to this a little too. It was surprising to me that mental health just isn't. So let's say you work a corporate job and you're having these suicidal thoughts, you're having these terrible things. and you want to speak to somebody about it, they'll tell you, oh yeah, go ahead. But what they'll do is they'll put that on your record. And then let's say you're going for a promotion, or they'll use it against you later. And this mental health is sort of a stigma that people can use against you, when in reality, it's probably just a lot of past trauma. Would you agree with that or not?
Yeah, so complex PTSD is a newer diagnosis. It's not in the ICD-10 code. Do you know what an ICD-10 code is? That's the coding. That's how we bill for crap in America, in the world, or whatever. It's how we bill for crap. That's how they get money. So a doctor has to put a code, okay, so they can bill for insurance. So they have to give you a diagnosis, okay? Now they have this book called the DSM-5. Have you heard of that? That's the Bible of psychiatry. It's just a book that a bunch of old psychiatrists sat together, and it's the 5th edition. They just go, oh, here's more, just grouping together. It's actually pretty pathetic. When you talk about, like, my IQ is probably 160 plus, it's embarrassing. Like, we're going to Mars, but we try to simplify the human condition to 2 paragraphs. Like, you're bipolar. Oh, you're this type based on this. It's laughable. So when I speak up as a clinician, also disabled veteran, a patient, because I'm just so frustrated, which I wish, man, there was a antidepressant, like Prozac Nation, right? I wish there was a serotonin problem. It's obviously not true. Depression is not serotonin related, not specifically. That was debunked in the 90s. So I don't work for pharma. I don't make money by them, right? Prozac made a lot of money in the 90s. And sometimes it does help people, but most of the time, all it does is it numbs you. That's all it does, right? So for me, most people, I'm sober, right? And when most people are running from their pain. So I don't drink, I don't do drugs, nothing like that. I had a wild 20s, if you can imagine, bipolar, but and trauma, and early childhood trauma. My first molestation was around age 3. And I have memories, dude, of like 1.5. And this is in the clinical literature. So imagine, I mean, you have kids, right?
Yeah, I got 2 2-year-olds, and I and a 7-year-old. I can't even fathom that, man. The evil in that.
Yeah, there's not, and I hate when people justify it. It's evil to hurt children.
How can
I don't have
anybody
kids.
who tries to justify it, man? I've never seen anybody try.
In the spiritual world, they'll say it's just, in the spiritual world, they get weird. It's like, I have a spiritual therapist. They'll be like, like they try to justify the Holocaust. My lineage comes from the Holocaust. So when I was suffering as a child, right, I had to look up to the worst suffering in the world, like slavery, Trail of Tears, Holocaust. Holocaust is my heritage. I'm Polish. And I had to understand, like, how did they get through that? Viktor Frankl talked about A Man's Search for Meaning, that he was a psychiatrist, went through the Holocaust. And I had this therapist say, well, it was their souls are, I don't know, their souls are, what do you say? I thought it was really stupid. It was like, he's like, their souls are like, they needed that from a past life or some bullshit. And I go, you can't fucking justify evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, what Hitler did was fucking evil. Slavery was evil. And what happened to me was evil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have to give too much details. Like, I've had 30 years, dude, of severe sexual trauma. If you can imagine, like, rape flashbacks, like, that's horrific, dude. I'm a 33-year-old alpha male, dude. I'm 180 pounds, 6'1". Like, people are scared of me because they see anger as my emotion, but that's how I express my pain. So I work it out in the gym or have other healthy coping mechanisms. And, yeah, I mean, I don't like when people justify it. And I also don't like when people act like they know, or they dismiss it. Like, everyone's got trauma. I go, you were fucking raped? Oh, you were bullied as a kid? So was I, bitch. Like, oh, shut your fucking mouth. That's what you need to do. Shut your fucking mouth. You don't know what it's like to have night terrors and crack a tooth at 32 years old. I literally cracked a tooth in half, bro. Like, and I don't grind teeth. I literally have visualizations of a figure stabbing me in the middle of the night. Does that make sense? So that's severe childhood trauma. That's what's called PTSD.
I would just think that anybody who would try to justify anything like that, I would classify them as evil as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that that's such a wrong, I mean, I'm always a person who's going to try and meet people where they're at and be the first to say, hey, I don't understand what you've gone through. I have some people that I really love and care about that experience very similar, and are even in their 40s and 50s and still tell me they have that pain and that it never goes away. And I guess that was a question to you, because you have some very healthy coping mechanisms. I mean, you are an absolute monster in the gym, and you do so many healthy things for yourself, but
Yeah.
do you feel like you can actually make it kind of go away, or is it just something you always have to live with kind of?
Yeah. So I specialize in metabolic psychiatry, which is very interesting because I wanted to figure out how I could not kill myself. I've had suicidal thoughts since I was 7. I'm 33. So I actually had a plan to end my life at 35. I was going to do assisted suicide and do it the medical way, because there's a point, man, I hate this too. There's a point where there's too much pain, and that's what suicide is. And when someone says suicidality, oh, blah, 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 like, you haven't lived with, rape terrors for fucking, and I have so much trauma, bro. So much. I have every form of trauma, basically. And that's why they have assisted suicide now, like overseas. I don't know if you've seen that. It does break my heart because I feel like I can help. But with metabolic psychiatry, I'm trained by the great Dr. Georgia Ede. It's about healing the brain at the cellular level. The term PTSD didn't exist 200 years ago, correct? So part of the problem with trauma is that our brain is not functioning correctly. So I use a ketogenic diet personally in sobriety to super fuel my brain. So that's why my clinic is blowing up, because too many mental health patients are getting, here's Abilify, here's Prozac, here's some other bullshit. I don't know what's going on. The psychiatrists don't even know what complex PTSD is because it's not in their training. It's embarrassing. So the most psychiatrists are actually good people. They just have broken tools. So it's kind of like going to a handyman asking to fix your car. Like, so I'm like the mechanic that you need. Because I don't, the first thing I ask a patient, man, when you come to me is, what's your purpose? And people are going to be like, what do you mean? I go, no, my mission statement is to help as many people as I can while enjoying this life. So every day to me is a mission. I wake up every day at 5. And if I can save one life, which I've literally been told that so many times, man, you saved my life. I mean, there's nothing more rewarding than that. It's not my ego. It's just, that's why I'm here. I'm a healer. So,
man,
yeah.
I gotta pause you there and just say that's incredible, man. And that's so inspiring. And I get chills as you say that, because I think, you had a path. And I think anybody that would hear your story would actually justify it and say, well, dude, if you just went on this other path and kind of continued down a road of just partying and crazy and wanting to escape, I don't think anybody would blame you, right? But what was that?
Yeah, I did that. I did do that.
What was that point in your life where you kind of pumped the brakes and said,
it just got worse and
circle?
worse. It got worse and worse. So trauma will continue to come out. When you get sober, you have to face it. I love drugs and alcohol, man. I was bipolar. Like, come on, man. Like I'm running from pain. That's the easy way out. How many people are so busy they don't even know why? I'm semi-retired. Like, I quit my urgent care job. I mean, it was okay, but I don't need the money. Like, so I'm like, okay, I quit. I have a business I'm excited about, but it's like, I want a family. I'm going to spend time with my family. I'm going to work like 20 hours a week because I'm enjoying my life. I gave up myself for others for too long. So I have to live by that mission statement, to help as many people as I can while enjoying this life. When I was in my 20s, I self-medicated for a long time. So when people say you party, like, oh, I partied. Oh, really? You had 10 drinks a night for 10 years? Like, I went out, dude. I had sex with a lot of women. It's empty. I can't have sex with women that's empty anymore. I tried.
For a while, you just understand how meaningless that is, right?
Oh, dude, it's
just to fill a void, right?
Just to get off. It's like, okay. And then now women, it's so bizarre, dude. Now women want to have sex with me, and women have used me for sex, which sounds cool when you're 21. That's not cool when you're 33 and want love. You know what I mean? Like, women don't even know what they're doing anymore. Like, they're coming at me wanting to have sex with me, and I'm like, that's not what I want. I don't want to just get you pregnant. I don't want to get an STD or whatever. Like, I'm glad you're attracted to me. But how many, it's weird, this masculine feminine energy shift, man. Because I take male and female members for my clinic, and it's like I coach both. And we have this really unhealthy balance right now. And
do you think a lot of that comes from on the female side of just things that they're broken too? I mean, it's like,
yeah. They're broken. Society, birth control.
Probably
Birth control is one of the worst things ever created.
maybe they didn't have a present father in the home that,
Yeah, but
then
there's more biology behind it. There's more biology. That's what I like. So yeah, it's like a woman that's been sexually abused. I've dated a lot that were abused, and then they become hypersexual. Because a woman doesn't have to be that way. You know, a woman can go to Circle K, bro, and like hook up with a guy anytime she wants. Right?
Any woman
Like,
can probably go out and find a guy any night they want, right?
It's not impressive. Yeah.
True.
Bro, it's not impressive that you bang the football team. In fact, actually, I'm not attracted to that at all.
Yeah, I think most men, I would put 95% or more of men that are not going to be attracted to a girl like that, right?
Like, but it's out there. It's like pornography has like taken sex, and it's good or bad, but it can be used bad. And pornography has taken stuff and twisted our brain to that's the expectation, and it's literally not real.
Yeah, I totally
agree,
like, man.
You know, and then what happened to love, man? What happened to like actual love where, you know, I don't care who you are, transgender, it doesn't matter. Like everyone wants love, unless you're truly narcissistic, which is less than 1% of society. So people are using these psychological terms around so loosely because they read Google. It's annoying. So being a single male at 33, bro, like I don't even know how to trust women because I'm like, you know, I've loved like 10 women. So it's like hard. Like I just want a family, a queen, and, you know, I want that. So it's a struggle, man. Cause I'm like, God, like they're trying to sleep with me like by date 2. And I want to get to know you.
Yeah, I can relate to that on a lot of levels, man. So I was
talk about it. Yeah.
I was single in Chicago in my late 20s and started to get in pretty good shape and had some financial means. And so, you know, I'd go out a lot. I was escaping a lot of my past pain, and I'd drink 4 or 5 nights a week. And most of the girls I would meet would want to go home the first night, right? Like this was probably at a 90% clip. And the girl that I ended up marrying, and I told all my friends I'm going to marry her after one weekend. My wife, we're coming up on 9 years of marriage. I'll never forget what she said the first night. I mean, I just loved this so much. I'm like, I want you to raise my daughter someday, you know?
Oh, that's it, man.
We're having like a fantastic time or whatever. And, you know, she said something like, I know you're probably used to girls wanting to come back to your place, but you'll fall in love with my mind first before you ever get to touch my body. And I was like, dude, I love that so much.
Where is that? Where is that, dude? Like, it's like what the, like I've had sex with so many women and that's fine, but I don't even care. Like, I don't even get excited having sex with a woman anymore. And I have no STDs. I'm fine, whatever. It's just like, you know, I was self-medicating, and now I'm in this position of like women coming at me, and I'm more scared of you trying to get my money. You liking me for my $150,000 Tesla. You know, I may be a billionaire someday. Like, who do I trust, bro? Like, I don't know who to trust. Like, people are constantly trying to sell me stuff. Like, so like, how do I trust? I don't know. It's something. I don't know, man. I do you believe in soulmates? Because I believe in like maybe you have multiple soulmates or something. I don't know. It's
a really hard thing. I go back and forth on that because I don't like the term soulmate, because then I think, well, what if you married somebody that maybe your soulmate was down the road and now you're not supposed to be married? I don't know if I believe in that, but I do genuinely believe, man, that God has a bigger plan for our lives. And my wife was handcrafted for me. And I was like every area I suck in, to be honest, Francis, like I'm very unorganized. My wife is so organized and she helps.
Oh, thank God, dude. Like, that's what like I'm looking for, bro. But I'm like,
amazing,
my business is ramping up. So like, you know, I recently had a girlfriend and I proposed online. It was silly. I'm like a romantic, bro. So like I like overwhelmed her and she was young and whatever. But I love hard, bro. And
where are you trying to find these girls at, Francis? Because I'll tell you what, brother.
Well, I found one online and like I was like, okay. And then now I'm so busy with the business, bro. I don't have time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm a scientist, right? So I do struggle with like statistics. So, you know, I just don't I have some standards that I set. I don't date women with kids. Just don't do it. I've tried it. I don't want headaches. Like, I don't need their money. I don't need their stupid job. Like, whatever makes them happy. But like, I need you to be present. I need you to love me and make my life a little easier. That's it.
Yeah, you'll find a girl like that, I think, when
Yeah.
but the hard thing about dating online, especially for a guy like you, right, is okay, they click the profile, they see a Tesla, they see a pretty jacked guy, and
Yeah.
that's what they're going for, right? And so, you know
Yeah,
what,
that's
that's the
true.
problem. And so
Yeah,
maybe
that's true.
meet some girls. Like my wife is the CEO of a very small nonprofit. Her whole life
Oh, that's sweet.
her
Oh,
whole life is about giving to others, right? And so I kind of knew
yeah.
right away, man, like, like volunteer. When you go volunteer and you meet like genuine people that want to help other people, that's a good spot
Yeah.
to look for women, man.
I just was worried about, I'm 33, but technically biologically, like I understand the pathophysiology behind reversing aging. So I technically, as a male, we can have kids into our 70s. And the theory right now is we can live to 150 years old. Now, women do have a different biological set, right? They have the menstrual cycle. So I just worry because I want my babies as healthy as possible. So that's my worry. So I was like, oh my God, like, am I running out of time? And like, no, not really. So I
Yeah.
need to take like this 6 months and get the business really going and just kind of let it go. I'm done with the online dating because I actually have literally, it sounds goofy to say, but I have like a PR person, I have a brand ambassador, and then I have executive assistant. So I don't have time. Like these women, like I was trying to go on a date the other day, and this woman's like, we said Friday, and she's like, oh, I made plans. And I go, well, I'm never talking to you again. Like, just, yeah, I don't know if you know this, like, I don't have time. So no wonder why you're 30 and single, like.
But I think it's important to have those standards too, especially as you're fishing through that pool, right, man? Because like
Yeah.
I got a really good buddy in New York now who's kind of dating, and he's a stud, to be honest. He's like 23, and he's sober at 23 and very focused on his mission and where he's going. And
Yeah.
most of the girls he goes out with, like he really liked a girl, and then she started making fun of him because he didn't drink. And I was like, dude, you need to never
Oh
talk
my
to
God.
her
Yeah.
again.
Oh my
Like you
God.
should literally just never talk to her
Bro,
again.
bro,
Like
these young females, bro, they don't understand. Here are a couple of things. I'm going to tell you psychology. First of all, the next generation, I hate generation versus generation. They're not psychologically developing or sociologically developing. They literally speak through Instagram. They speak through Snapchat. Like, because I'm actually pretty famous in the health community in real world. But the last girl I dated was like, you're not famous because you don't have 1 million followers. And I'm like, okay, just wait when I do. Is that gonna like make you feel better?
yeah, that's the thing, man. Like my
Like,
wife would love me if I had 0 followers or 10. That would matter 0% to a high
yeah.
standard, to a high quality female, right?
And
Like
she's like, why are you buying $150,000 Tesla? I just don't understand. And I'm like, because I can. Like leave me alone. I hate questions, bro. It's like I'm living my life, especially being a victim of child abuse. Like I was always trying to live and make other people happy. And yeah, it does look weird that I'm making some moves that are very exciting. Like our company, it's super exciting. It's called Regenerative Health Management. But it looks weird and people like ask questions. And it's like, well, I'm doing it because I want to. And
Which
then
is
I
not
understand
reason for anything, man.
that's it. Yeah. So I'm
That's
just learning that.
Yeah.
And the last girl, like, I was going to marry or whatever, because I don't have time. So I proposed early because I wanted to ride or die. And I proposed early because I don't have time. I'm like, you're either in or out. Like, basically, I need you to love me and make babies. And I don't need your freaking money. I don't need any of your bullshit. And
All right,
like,
Francis, I'm gonna give you one friendly advice here, brother.
what?
You gotta get to know him a little more. You can't be just firing off proposals in the third
I
date,
know, bro.
This is somebody you're gonna live with the rest of your life, man.
She
You gotta get a
said
little
yes.
more
She
certain.
said yes a month earlier. So like, I just did it online because I thought it was cute. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, I thought it was cute. And then she's like, oh my God, you're hypomanic, blah, blah, blah. You're manicky. I'm like, no, I'm just romantic and blah, blah, blah. Like I'm gonna start doing like going on the news or whatever. And that's how virality happens, right? On social. Like it just goes. And then people like, it just goes out into space somewhere. And then people are like from China are reaching out to me.
It's wild, man.
It's wild, right?
That's wild.
It's
It's just
wild.
a wild thing, man.
Yeah.
It's like every month I'll look and see that 15 million people on average read my tweets, and I'm like, who are these people, man? It's so wild to me.
How do you manage that,
just
bro?
like my thoughts out that I just tweet out randomly.
Yeah, that's what I do. Like
people see them. It's a wild concept, but it's also very cool. And I think you've kind of started to see the power behind it as well, where you can broadcast yourself out and help a lot of people if that's what you're choosing to do.
That's what I'm trying to do, bro, is like, it's not just about money. Like I'm literally exposing myself. So I have people like on Reddit that were really mean and nasty to me. And so I don't go on Reddit anymore. Cause it's like, I give free medical advice to help.
Yeah.
Is my clinic free? No, you get a free consultation, but my time's valuable, right? I'm a disabled veteran because of psychological trauma in the military, but like people don't understand that just because I'm nice doesn't mean I'm not psycho. And I'm psycho in a strong stoic way. And then they get upset, right? Yeah, you're a strong man. You're a big dude. Like when you show signs of strength and anger, they think, oh my God, he's out of control. No, I'm a man. Like, you know what I mean? What happened to society where I'm in the gym, bro, and I scare people. And I'm just like doing my gym routine. Like, what's going on in society?
Yeah, I
Like
think
what?
there's a definite agenda and push up against that, man.
Yeah.
But I think, strong men are not easy to control. I think is what it goes back to, right?
Yeah, you
And
can't.
you
Yeah.
kind of the system wants to control you, right? And so look, this probably even ties back to what you're talking about and the things you do. If somebody's really just weak and then you put them on medication that numbs them forever, dude, you can control them. You can make them do anything you want. You can tell them not to leave their house for 2.5 years. You can, whatever that thing is,
Yeah.
right? Those people are going to do. And I think that's the point of a lot of this stuff, right? These little digs at masculinity, these little digs at things like
Yeah.
that, where I really think there's a bigger overall agenda around that.
I specialize in sexual health. Okay. So I coach men and I tell men that first of all, stop blaming your genetics. You wouldn't be alive today if you didn't have good genetics. It's called sperm and egg in biology. So that's a weak ass excuse. There's genetics and epigenetics. So everyone has got soft, especially in America. It's really pathetic.
You have so much comfort here, man. Like,
Oh, bro, we're
easy,
soft, we're fat, we're lazy. And I'm from Eastern Europe. My dad's a savage. My dad's a beast, bro. He's 6'4", 195 in the 70s, late 70s. And he was weightlifting in the backyard with like cement weights, bro. Like, he was a firefighter. Like, I don't come from bitches. My mom is 5'4" Italian, benched 135 naturally. I've never seen it to this day. I was benching in the backyard Arizona heat in 4th grade. Like, we are raising weak people. And a lot of it is I coach men in a strong way, but also in a like, get off your ass. Because I'm not just going to give you Ozempic. I don't know if you heard about Ozempic, right? It does work really good. Medicine's getting good. People want to be fucking eat their pizza. They want to have their cake and eat it too, is the saying, I guess. So when you're a member of me, if that's what you got to tell me, like the first thing I looked at is 0 to 10. How bad do you want change? And how long do you want to live? What quality of life do you want? You know why your erections don't work? Because you're fat and lazy. That's fucking why. And I can fix it, but how much are you willing? Or do you need medicines because that's who you are? Most people, man, are not savages, and that's okay. But I ask them like on a 0 to 10, like, oh, they're like a 3, want to change. So I have to do like small increments because they still want to have Krispy Kreme every day and live a long time. I'm like, well, me as a clinician, I look at someone and say, well, you get about 10 years to live. So you decide what, I have to find what's your purpose, what's your motivation, right? So for me, I have to feel good every day because I don't want to be hospitalized. I have to feel good every day because I'm building something special. I have a team that relies on me. So I can't have a beer. Why would I? Why would I? I'm not an addict. It's just that, is it even worth to mess up my sleep that night? No.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, I can relate to that a little bit. And I think too, I love that you start with a deeper purpose with people, because I think if you solve that, then those other things become very easy, right? Like, everybody you admire, I always tell people this, man, like everybody you and I probably look up to, man, Jordan Peterson, whoever these people are, right? Let's just say whoever they are, right? Like,
I want to meet him. Yeah.
they've paid a cost, man. And they've just decided that, whatever the cost is that you want, you just have to decide, am I willing to pay it? For me, I haven't watched TV in over 3.5 years. I get up every single morning. I don't watch news. I work on the things I want to work on to get to where I want to go. There's a cost, man. I'm well aware that it's much easier to lay around and watch Netflix every night, and escape problems rather than face them. But that doesn't get me where I want to go. And so I'm willing to pay that cost. And I love that you start there with your clients and say, hey, how high of a cost are you willing to pay? Right.
Yeah. Because everyone's individualized. Right?
That's right.
So I specialize in men's health, women's health, sexual health, individualized nutrition, and metabolic psychiatry. So I look at the person at the cellular level and holistically. So I look at you and I go, if you want to go 30 miles per hour, right? That's okay. So we're going to do slower. Like you only get 15 minutes with me because I know 16 years of Latin Medicine is Latin, man. It's a different language. So I can talk to the highest neurosurgeon in the world, no big deal, right? Whatever. And I can also talk to the person from Skid Row, because I spent 7 years as a nurse and clinician working with the low end of the population. Because if you can work with them, they're the sickest, have the least resources, and their IQ is typically lower, meaning it's not nothing personal. It's just that, my IQ is probably 160. Okay. Which is genius. It doesn't matter. But, if their IQ is 70, it's not fair for me to talk about hypertension. And then I just tell them, look, you have pipes in your body, they will burst. Okay. You need to take your medicine or go to your doctor, lose weight. You know what I mean? So like, I've seen too many people die, man. I literally have lost friends and family because I call them out. And I just can't, I have to sleep at night. Imagine having that power or that responsibility. Sorry, not power, but responsibility, that I do a calculation with every patient I have. And I go, oh, you got about 10 to 15 years to live. Not only that, if you have a stroke, you're going to be, oh God, the aftermath of that could be horrific. You're pooping yourself. You get, bed sores, you can't move the left side of your body. So I just want people to have a healthier, happier life, man. So it's a better society. So that's what I'm trying to do.
So talk to me a little bit about working with the patients on Skid Row, man, because that's got to be quite an experience. And like you said, to try and meet them where they're at, and I think too many people in society just look so, and I've been guilty of this. I put a big post 6 months ago on how there's times where I would just like see a homeless person and instantly think like, man, they're just lazy, or they're just that, or the odds are they probably just didn't have resources, and
so
they just need help. They need somebody to lift them up. So can you talk a little bit about what that experience was like, man?
Yeah, so Skid Row's in LA, so I didn't work there. I work in inner city Phoenix.
Okay.
So I worked. Yeah. It's same thing, right?
Right.
So, first of all, I have the same stories as them. I just have a high IQ of 160 and insatiable drive. So I'm the same. That's why I speak for them and I talk to them, because I know shit happened to them. Like I call out patients in 5 minutes and I'll be like, I'll sit down with them and they have psychosomatic symptoms. What that means is that basically anxiety is manifesting in the body. It's common. They're there for fibromyalgia. Okay. Like fibromyalgia is real, but what's really going on here? So I go, all right. So I sit down with them in 5 minutes. I'll ask them if they have any trauma, emotional, physical, sexual. And then they say yes. And I say, well, would you like to talk about it? And they say yes. And in 5 minutes, I'll find out they were raped. And I'm the first person they ever told. Does that make sense? So
yeah, and then you imagine how that has to feel, suppressing that for like 20 some years, right? And then you finally get to say that to somebody, and you probably just feel a weight instantly come off, right?
Instantly, man. It's just like, because it really sucks. Because I was that way, right? So I can call out someone real quick if they're autistic, because I'm autistic. I have Asperger's technically. So like I am not just a clinician, right? I am also the patient. So they feel comfortable to share whatever with me. Like, when it comes to medicine, man, a lot of doctors, they're just robots. They're cooks in the kitchen. It's how they're good people. Most doctors are good people. Most, especially nurses. Nurses are amazing. There's a reason why we're the #1 most trusted profession ever. But a lot of them are like robotic, man, and forget like I've held patients' hand when they're dying. I got to know them over 2 weeks as they die. Like you don't understand the PTSD you get from the trauma that healthcare workers have. We're all quitting, man. Because why? I quit traditional medicine. I won't go back in because I'm doing my own clinic. It's different.
A lot of people on the podcast say the same thing, man. That
we're all quitting. So
traditional, right?
So good luck. Now you took advantage of the healthcare workers, and what's going to happen in the next 5 years is people are going to be dying in the parking lot.
I see a lot too, man, where I think a lot of doctors are really good people and they want to help, but I feel like their hands are also tied by the system that tells them, you got to see X amount of patients per day. And like, just talking to a doctor recently, and he was saying like, man, I had a patient that needed extra care, but I have to see these 3 or 4 others because I have a quota to hit and I have so much to get out. And it's really become about profit. And that's sad to me, when I think mental health and both physical health shouldn't really be about profit. It should be about helping people, right? First, and profit second, man. And I don't know if there's one thing I've learned from this podcast, probably, talking to a lot of high achievers and people that do well in life. Really, man, the people that actually end up making the most money usually tend to not care about money, and they just want to help people. and they just find solutions to help people. And then guess what? When you provide solutions and help people, money ends up coming. But I think that healthcare system, or sick care system, as I call it in America, is just all about profit, man. It's all about profit. And then I think you're going to see a lot of doctors, I mean, that are saying, why do I want to go to school for 12 years, work this crazy lifestyle, work this crazy hour? I mean, it's just, I don't know. You're seeing a lot of smart people not go that route that I think would, because of that system.
Well, you're going two things. So innovation is going to change healthcare and save it. So what's going to happen, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, is you're going to have Medicare for all for basic services. And then you're going to have direct care. Direct care is meaning it's between the patient and the clinician, and the insurance companies. Sorry, the actual direct care means you pay cash. So the insurance companies are actually the most evil, and then it's big pharma.
Yeah, I agree.
So the insurance companies
I can
first.
highly agree with that, man.
Yeah. So people don't understand that, like United Healthcare, I mean, absolutely disgusting. $5.6 billion profit per quarter for denying services that kills people.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't know how those people sleep at night, man. Same thing.
It's disgusting. So the insurance companies, what's going to happen is that they've been greedy for far too long. But we still have innovation in America, right? So, and it's going to be very exciting. Like the company I'm a part of and owning a clinic, we are a new model, right? Part of the direct care type. And you're seeing a lot of doctors get out. And what's going to happen is you actually don't, at the ERs right now, man, they can't get people to work. So you're going to have to pay doctors like double, triple, like, because they just don't want to do it. And I don't know, man, like COVID, I worked COVID. I was the 4th patient of the state in Arizona. I saw 100 patients a day. Got it twice, got the COVID vaccine, the mRNA, and was injured from the vaccine. You know, and I got it I knew I didn't need it, but I got the vaccine because I thought I was being an example for my older patients. I never once have asked if a 5-year-old had a COVID vaccine. They don't need it. Like doctors need to read science. Like, what is going on here? So
well, I think it goes back to profit, man.
Yeah, it's profit. Yeah, you're right. So it angers me, man, that I see children, bro. Like I do pediatrics as well. And I see children with a mask and the parents don't have a mask and they're a 2-year-old. What in the hell is going on? Like, and I see it in public and I almost say something. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, it's weird to me, man. I still see to this day people driving in their car alone with a mask. At the end of the day, I'm all about people can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah,
it is kind of a wild thing to me, but
a 2-year-old, that's what gets me. That 2-year-old can't decide that.
Well, I've also got two 2-year-olds, and if I tried to throw a mask on, they would rip them.
Bro, I'm like, what's going on?
I don't even know how that's ever gonna work, right?
I'm like, what's going on here? And I've had an 8-year-old. I had an 8-year-old the other day or whatever, fatty liver disease, 8 years old, 7 years old, sleep apnea. And that's from obesity, man. And they're worried about, yeah, you should be worried about COVID. But the real problem is that they're so unhealthy, so young, it breaks my heart. I'm like, they have 6 fillings at once, man. I see that all the time in practice. I see like a 5-year-old, 6 fillings. And I go, you like sugar, huh? Yeah, no more.
And it's sad to me. And when COVID first hit, brother, I'm really optimistic, right? And so I was thinking this is going to be the greatest thing to happen to society, because I'm like, it's very clear early on from the science. And this is kind of a couple months in when I knew a lot of it was a scam, was when, I thought, okay, this is great, because the messaging from the leaders and everybody is going to be, dude, let's get out and take daily walks. Let's get to the gym. Let's get metabolically healthy. That is your best chance of surviving and getting over this thing quick. And all disease, right? So I'm like, that's going to be the messaging. Well, it turns out they just wanted to make $3 billion off of,
It was.
They closed the gyms, man. They closed the outdoor trails. It's so wild the way this happened.
Depending on the state. Yeah, Arizona did a decent job, but the problem is this too. COVID did kill a lot of people. So this is another problem. Is that
thing, right?
It was a horrible death too. Oh my God! Like, there's called dignity with death. Like, it's nice when you die quick. Like, you have an aneurysm, it's just over. No, COVID was like a month suffocating in your lungs. Like, it was horrific.
Terrible, awful. I wish we would have done that, right? Like, encourage health, still roll out a vaccine for people who need it. Awesome. Like, there's many things we could have done different. It just, at the end of the day, I feel like money won again. And
where's
like,
the balance? Also,
there wasn't much balance.
there's a lot of people that have anxiety around death. I can't, I'm going to say this. I can't wait to die because I know when I do die that it's a lot better than this. And that's just based on my own psychosis and experiences I've had and, my belief in good and evil, God, devil type stuff. And people don't understand that every day is a good day, brother. Like I've almost died. I was run over by a truck when I was 16. I've almost died like 5 times in just accidents. So people don't understand how fragile we are as humans. Like I've had plenty of patients die. They were like 20, and so this COVID, was a scare, right? Which was scary, but the media did such a horrible job. And then a lot of people just, they live in this ignorant bliss. Like, must be nice, huh? Must be nice to, just eat donuts and be fat and not have to understand that they don't even think about death until they get the cancer.
I think that's the hard part, man, is educating people that you have to take action before the thing happens. Like, you see far too often people are 56, right? They get their first heart attack. Oh, now I want to get healthy. It's
yeah.
Like, man, we need to help educate people earlier that you wouldn't have had that heart attack had you just taken a daily walk on your lunch break and not eating the donuts in the morning, right? Swap it around with eggs,
It's like don't you
fixes,
you post a lot of good health stuff, man. It's really good. It's the problem is like I'm a clinician as well, right? So like I want to go into Joe Rogan eventually, which would be super cool. But like, he's just a guy, you know what I mean? And you're just a guy too. But then then you have these clinicians out there. They're like, man, what are you talking about? Sometimes, so most of us,
right?
No, yeah, a lot of them have agendas, but a lot of clinicians actually don't want to talk. So that's another reason why I feel like I have to. I have a license, right? Like I'm protected. I'm a disabled veteran, SMI, all this stuff. But like a lot of top great doctors, they just don't want to share it because, they're scared of pushback. Or a lot of healthcare workers are sweethearts, man. They're sweethearts. They didn't go into it for money, man. I'm going to make way more money. Right? Yeah, bro. Like seriously, like I'm going to make way more money in business than I am healthcare. And it's like, why am I helping patients that not only the patients are rude to me, like I'll have patients that demand shit from me because of Google reviews, bro. They're like, I want an antibiotic. And I go, well, it's not how this works.
Yeah.
My
wife's dad is a doctor, and he's had some funny stories about that, how patients will call him and threaten him. And he's like, look, I'm going to do what I'm morally going to do. Like, you can leave whatever review you want to leave, but I'm going to do what, like, have integrity and do what I'm going to do,
Yeah, it's tough, brother. And I don't know. I am very optimistic though. Like I believe in Phoenix from the ashes. I think that's what's happening with the healthcare system. So if you look at Europe, for example, their COVID response and COVID outcome was different, right? They have already taken mass away a while back. Like they've already, the vaccine is not pushed on children in Europe. So I think in America, we're egocentric. That's one of our biggest weaknesses is we forget that we're not the best. And actually, we're not the best in almost anything. The only thing we are the best at is immigration, is getting people here, which is also illegal. Yeah, sports. Like, you know what I mean? And like, money. Like it's every other category is like really bad. Like I think healthcare, we're ranked like, I forget, it's really low, man. Infant mortality is really low.
The crazy thing about the US, the stats that are so alarming and nobody talks about is our life expectancy is going down. And we're supposedly the most developed country in the world, the wealthiest country in the world, but our life expectancy keeps going down. And I wonder why more people don't ask questions like you're asking. Hey, is it the food we're eating? Is it all the drugs we're putting in our body? Is it these like other factors, and can we combine them all? Is it people not having a purpose and it's something bigger than themselves, right? And so that's always my message, man. I'm like you, and I think if we can unlock one person, man, and just by sharing on social, however that is, right? Like maybe somebody listening to this today is in a low state, low frequency, right? And they just say, hey, man, I want to think about my purpose. I'm going to reach out to Francis and discover my purpose. And that person changes their life around. And then who do they affect? And And to me, that's how we do it, is one person at a time. And by broadcasting, obviously with internet, it makes it a lot easier in social media. But I don't know, man, I'm very optimistic for the future. I'm bullish on humans. I think it can be easy to be negative sometimes and say the system, all these things. I think there's a lot of evil in the world, man. I think there's a lot of greed, a lot of evil. a lot of people with really, really bad agendas. But I also think there's a lot of great people out there, man, that want to help, that just want to help empower other human beings to do great things. And sometimes, man, I just think like, dude, we're all flying around on a 10,000-pound rock orbiting a giant ball of fire. Like, none of this really makes sense. So we should just smile more and like just enjoy it and have a mission statement like yours. Like, I'm going to get up every day to enjoy it and help others. Like, imagine if every human woke up like that, man. I'm going to enjoy today and help others. Like,
doesn't that mission statement work for anybody? Like, I was like, why can't everyone have that?
Of course, you could be, every single human
a janitor, you could be a CEO. Like, I'll probably eventually be CEO and whatever, which is cool. I just want to be, but it's like, because I want to help people on a larger scale. So the only way to do that is you have to build a brand. You have to whatever, do all that stupid crap. Like, I literally built all my social media myself.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I haven't spent $1 on marketing, and it's just like, oh, okay. And then like, I start marketing here soon for my business, and I'm very excited. But like, I have patients like on my waiting list. I'm very grateful because like, when you get a doctor or a medical provider, they want to stay with you. You know what I mean? Because that's a relationship, man. The family doctor back in the day, you walked with that family for 40 years.
Yeah, that's right.
So like with us, like we have, I'm a nurse practitioner too. So nurse, then become advanced nurse as a clinician. And in Arizona, I have the same responsibility as a doctor, basically same job. I just get paid 1/3. So, and people trust nurses because we speak real talk. Doctor's in there for 5 minutes. I was with you for 12 hours, like as a nurse first. So we have bedside manner. We understand that. And I did a lot of things outside of healthcare. I've done business, I've done sales, I've done military, I was a cop, I did air conditioning, I did all kinds of stuff, and I think that's also why I'm different too, is that people go into healthcare and that's all they do. And they don't know anything else. They don't understand like just how to talk to someone. Some of the best nurses were waitresses.
I could see that. Yeah.
Like, cause they have, they know how to talk to people. These doctors go in and they go, they're prepped at age 5. Literally at 5 years old, you're going to be a doctor. And then they go, right. And then they go through the whole system and they've never worked a real job in their life. The best doctors I ever met had a real job.
Yeah. So that's probably a good point, man. I remember when our daughter was born, and some of the nurses were just amazing. Cause I was freaking out, man. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah.
I'm like, is she coughing? Is she supposed to be coughing? And they're just right in there, like making you, hey, oh, that's normal because of this and that. They're just like, give you a human being feeling, not like, you're just patient number 9,702 and they can't wait to bill you,
Yeah, there's still good people in healthcare, man. That's the thing about it, is like, the healthcare workers are going to take back healthcare. Nurse practitioners are booming, and we have high satisfaction rates because people like us. Like, not only are we cheaper, like I'm not an oncologist. Okay. I know a lot though. I'm really smart, but like, I'm not an oncologist. I'm not going to act like I know that, but my medical opinion is worth something. And like for nurse practitioners, again, advanced nurses, we are like trusted. We're unionized. Like nurse practitioners are going to have a lot of power because we care more about the patient. We're taught, this is how we're taught in school, man, is like the patient's like, I have neck pain, and we switch out the pillow. The doctor and physician assistant gets them a narcotic. Like, no, they need a pillow. Like, because we spend 12 hours with them. So like, it's just like, bro, that's what they need. So like, nurses don't get the respect, right? There was nurses making more than doctors, man, during COVID, because like, it's good. It's good, brother. You got to understand, like, the healthcare system is failing, but at the same time, it's created this innovation. You have Mark Cuban created the pharmacy company, is really cool.
I just saw that. Yeah, that's gonna be massive, man.
That's really neat. The company I'm a part of is Direct Care, so we're outside of insurance. It's really exciting. It's still affordable. And then I do free health content on all my social for fun, like just to help in the meantime. But it's like, dude, there's good things happening, brother. I'm there, but it's hard sometimes to remember that when you have to talk about pain.
Yeah.
When I think about my own pain and my own trauma and stuff, it hurts. I'm doing another interview after this, and like, I'm going to go more in depth. It's just hard to think, I couldn't even look at childhood photos of myself, dude. I literally couldn't look at childhood photos.
Yeah.
Like, and because it would remind me, you know, and I have a great dad, great stepmom, my mom, whatever. But, you know, like I just don't understand. I see these kids and I'm like, and parents aren't even grateful for their own kids. Like they, you know what I mean? Like you're grateful, A, to be fertile, 2, to have a healthy kid. And then you don't even know what you have. And you're blaming your kid because you're stressed in your stupid life. Like that kid's just trying to have fun, man.
That's a big mission of mine, man. I think if anybody follows my social, man, I mean, I think having kids is the funnest thing in the world because, bro, you get to play all day with them, man.
That's it.
Take my
That's
kids to
it.
the park. We build forts. We have squirt gun fights. It's like,
Yeah.
it'd be weird if just I invited you over to have a squirt gun fight, right? But it's like
I would do
like,
it, but
yeah,
I'm
I mean,
like
I
a
would
big,
do
I'm
it,
like
to
a
be
big
quite
kid.
honest. But
I'm a big kid.
if me and my daughter and her friends come over, we have a squirt gun fight. Nobody thinks twice, man. So it's like it's a gift, man. It really is. But I think you can view everything in life almost as a gift, right? Of course, there's a lot of evil. Of course, there's a lot of negativity. There's things that, you know, trials and challenges that, man, you know, you've had to overcome that. I think you're a living testament, though, that if you can come out the other side of that and still have this positive mission statement and still want to give back and help people, then I think anybody can, man. And you know, that would be my challenge to anybody today is if you're listening to this and you're in a low spot, you know, people have gone through worse, people have gone through terrible things, but man, reach out to people that can help you. There's a lot of people that want to help you, right? And ultimately, man, I think there's a lot more good in the world than evil, and I think
There
good
is.
definitely wins in the end. And so again, I'm very bullish on humans and life, man.
Yeah, I am too. I'm glass half, 3/4 full. Like that's what I am.
Can I give you a
Yeah.
funny saying on that, man?
Yeah,
I
dude, let me
started
know.
saying recently.
What?
I used to tell people I'm like a glass half full guy, right? And then I just had this thing. I'm like, you know what? I'm a grateful to have a glass guy. Like,
Oh,
even if my
grateful to have a
glass is
glass. I
empty,
like
bro,
that.
I'm
I
grateful to
like
have a
that. At
glass.
least
So
you
now
have a glass.
I've been saying that one, man.
Grateful to, I like that. Okay. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, brother, I need to wrap up here, man. I know you have another interview next, but out of my heart, man, it's not easy to talk about a lot of these things, man. But I do think it's necessary, right? And I think so many people go through so much trauma and they never talk about it and they never heal. And they do, man. They turn to alcohol, drugs, sex, and all these empty things, right? And I'm really proud of you, man. I'm honored to know you. You know, just for the fact that, man, you know, you made a decision that I'm going to wake up every day and be happy and help others. And I think what a beautiful thing, man. That's pretty awesome. So I'd like to give you the last word here, brother. Can you send us out on something good?
Yeah. So Viktor Frankl, A Man's Search for Meaning. So through my darkest times, I would lead through that trying to be funny and happy and put a mask on other people, you know, put a mask on, but help others. I knew that very early on as a child. So Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist in the Holocaust, said that you could tell when a man died in 3 days. So he would give up and he would slump, and you would think that people were crying all the time, and they weren't. You were joking around, keeping your mood up. And just because you're seeing a smiling face doesn't mean there's not pain behind it. So, you know, if everyone should be trying to help others, I don't care how you do it. And that should be part of your mission statement. And when you do that, that's what kept me alive, man, was that. So that's it.
Amen, brother. I really appreciate that, man. That's probably one of my favorite books of all time, by the way, too.
Yeah.
And Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, will link that below, too, man. It's a great book. Well, I'm going to link everything Francis does below. He's an awesome follow across social media, puts out a lot of great content, a lot of helpful content. We'll link everything he does below. I do agree, and I'll even add on to that last statement. You know, when I go out to eat now, man, I don't think, you know, I hope the waitress is good. I think I'm going to try and make her day or his day.
Yeah.
I literally go about life with that mindset of wherever I go, I want to leave people better than before I came. And I think it's a really, I don't know, it's very counterintuitive, but it's made me happier than anything in my life that I've ever tried before, be that alcohol, drugs, money, whatever that is, man. Just going about life with that kind of attitude has literally changed my entire life. So I think it can anybody's, man.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. We'll go have the best day. Guys, go bless up. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Thanks for tuning in to Tyrompers No Limit Podcast. This has been Francis on episode 68. Again, we're going to link everything he does below. Give him a follow, guys. Give him a shout out. Send him a message. And you guys go have the greatest day. Thanks for tuning in.